Hi there, Buddy Rathma here, and I want to share with you a quick course called 7 Ways to Increase Your Personal Agency and Transform Your Life. Now, here's the deal. I created a PDF to go along with this because I actually want you to implement some of these things and make some changes in your life. I'm going to share with you some content, but your life isn't going to change unless you take action. You can know these things in your head, but unless you actually apply them in your life, you aren't going to increase your personal agency, and it's going to be unlikely that you transform your life. So, the first area or way that we increase our personal agency is to have a growth mindset. Many of you have probably read the book by Carol Dweck called Growth Mindset. She's done us a huge service in bringing this concept into the public thought and forefront. And if you haven't read it, put it on your list to read this year or watch her TED Talk on it. Really good thinking on not being stuck in a fixed mindset, but rather having a growth mindset that you can learn things, you can figure out things, you're able to achieve different things. You're not stuck in the world that you're stuck in. Just heard a lady who wrote a book called Everything is Figure Outable. And I started listening to her book, heard her on a podcast. It was really good. And her mom would just say to her, everything is figure outable. And she talked about how she would fix radios or fix the roof or fix whatever. She would learn even before YouTube. She would be out there learning how to fix things because that was her mindset, that you can figure things out. You can learn things. There's another phrase that goes along with this idea: if one man can do it, another man can too. And so many different areas of life, we think that, oh, those people can do it, but I can't. Now, there are some areas, right? You need to have wisdom. But in general, if somebody else can do something, you can do it too. I was just meeting with a client a couple hours ago this morning, and she's getting into the image consulting niche, and she loves it. She's getting clients. She's doing well. She's growing her business. And I was like, yeah, this is for sure something you can do. There's image consultants. There's people certifying image consultants. It's a growing field. For sure, this is something that you can grow and you can learn and you can do. And the reason I have a tree there for growth mindset, sometimes people like to use the analogy of a computer for human beings. I think a tree or a plant is so much more a better analogy for us. If we have sunlight and water and nutrients, or as a tree, we're going to grow. And the same is true for us. If we have the right things around us, and that's what we'll talk about as we go through this course, you can grow in your mindset. Like, it's not like you just read a book and add knowledge. Like, you actually grow as a person. You grow internally, you grow spiritually, you grow in all these different ways as you implement a growth mindset in your life. One of the ways that we see that is that stress itself isn't actually bad for us. It's our view of stress. If we view stress as being bad for us, it is bad for us. But if we view it as something that's going to spur us on, that's going to push us, we have a deadline, not getting freaked out about it, going, yeah, this is going to help me to do my best. I love the line from Apollo 13 when somebody's talking about how this is going to be like the worst tragedy in the history of NASA. And the head of NASA says, excuse me, but I think this is actually going to be our greatest moment of triumph. And that mindset, instead of going, oh man, it's the end of the world, the sky's falling, I'm going, you know what? This opportunity is going to show what we're really made of. That's two different views of stress. I just read recently about Norway and how they don't have a bad view of winter. They look at it as a positive thing. And I thought, wow, their winter is way worse than New York or New Jersey where I grew up. But everyone in New York and New Jersey seems to complain about the winter and the slush and the cold and the darkness. But in Norway, they actually have different words. They have a word that's about cuddling and, cuddling under blankets in front of a fire, drinking a warm drink. They say there's no such thing as bad weather. There's only bad clothes. And so it's like, yeah, this is the weather. If you have good clothes for the weather, you're fine. They don't think about the fact that they only have 7 or 8 hours of daylight. They think about the fact that they have 3 hours of a sunrise and 3 hours of a sunset. Like the sky is all these bright, brilliant colors for all these hours because they're so far north. And they think of it that way. They look to do everything they can outside. And so even though their winter is way colder than what we experience in a lot of the West, they have a good view of it, and it actually changes their happiness because they have a better view of it. So there's probably some areas in your life where you have a fixed mindset right now, and there's some areas where you have a growth mindset. It's true of all of us. But many of us default to a fixed mindset, or we default to a growth mindset. And so in your life, think about some area where you're stuck right now, where if you think about it, you go, you know what? I probably have a little bit of a fixed mindset in this area. There's probably a way for me to get through this. So the PDF that goes along with this course will give you some area to kind of flesh that out and write that down if you print that out. The second area that we want to talk about to increase our personal agency is to overcome lies with truth. My wife got her master's in counseling. She got her doctorate. She teaches psychology, and she was meeting with a client once, and the client started speaking these lies about herself. And my wife was like, just in your speech, you speak all these things that aren't true. And so one week she said, I want to give you a homework assignment. Every time you speak a lie this week, I want you to write that down. And so one week she went out and she wrote down all the lies that she was believing, or things that she kind of thought weren't true. And my wife affirmed, yes, this is a lie. That's not true. And then the next week, she's like, okay, this week I want you to replace that lie with the truth. For every lie that you wrote down, I want you to replace what's actually true about you, what's actually true about your life, what's actually true about these events. And so in a sense, she was having her delete her limiting beliefs and establish empowering beliefs. She was having her delete the lies and replace the lies with the truth. So if you have lies in your life that you believe, go ahead and write those down. And then write down a truth that can combat them, that you can use to overcome that lie. So the second way that we increase our personal agency is we overcome lies with truth. Richard Bach has a quote. He says, the worst lies are the lies we tell ourselves. And it's so true. If you are telling yourself a lie and you tell yourself it over and over and over, you're going to believe it. And that's actually one of the things that leads to a fixed mindset, is believing these lies. Henry Ford says, if you think you can or think you can't, you're right. And what he's saying is, if you think you can, you find a way to make it happen. And if you think you can't, you don't even try, because you go, well, what's the use? I'm not going to be able to achieve that. I don't know if I'm the first one to say it, but I Googled this, and I couldn't find anyone else that had said it, or at least in print. Just this idea of you find what you're looking for. If you're looking for something to confirm a lie in your life, you're going to find it. If you're looking for something to confirm a truth, you're going to find it. If you're looking for an excuse, you're going to find it. If you're looking for a way through, over, under, like the Marines say, improvise, adapt, overcome, you're going to find a way to find the way through. But if you're going, this is too hard, you're just going to find that excuse to stop. Third area that increases your personal agency is right relationships. Henry Cloud talks about this in his book, The Power of the Other, of how other people impact our lives way more than we want to think. And that's why people talk about getting rid of toxic or unhealthy relationships, setting up boundaries around those things. When you have people that are in your corner that are willing to speak the truth, but also be encouraging, that's just such an empowering thing. I remember when I was in high school in Germany, my dad didn't often get to see my games on Sundays because he was a pastor. My games were often on Sunday mornings. But one tournament, for whatever reason, he was there. And I remember this big cross that was coming across the field. And I saw it coming, and I was just about to let up. And I hear my dad on the sidelines go, "Go, buddy!" And so I just kept going. I just kept running. And I jumped up kind of the height of my jump. I headed the ball over the goalie. I wish it went in. It went just to the side of the goal. But I thought, without that encouragement, I wouldn't have even tried for it. I would have just stopped and let the goalie had it. And instead, I almost scored a goal. The opportunity was there because I had that encouragement. And sometimes the difference between quitting too soon and success is the right relationship. That person encouraging us, giving us a bit of advice, helping us to know a step we should take or something we should do or whatever. But right relationships make all the difference. So think about your relationships. There's something called the Pygmalion effect. If you haven't heard of it, look it up. But you probably heard of a study done where a teacher is given a group of students that are all about average, and she's told half the class is really smart and half is not so smart. And at the end of the semester, the really smart students receive good grades. They do better on standardized tests. They think of themselves as smarter, and the opposite is true with the ones that aren't as smart. And then the punchline is the kids were actually all the same, but the teacher's belief in those students that they were smarter, that actually increased their intelligence. Like it literally changed their intelligence. Her belief in the students changed them. They did the same thing with adults in a tech school where they said to the professor, all these students are the same, and they got the same results. They told them that some were smart and some weren't, and they were actually all the same. And the ones that the instructor told were smarter did better, got better grades. So make sure you have people in your corner that are believing in you, and make sure you're increasing your belief in your spouse. And you're looking for what's right in your spouse. You're looking for the things that they do well. And with your children, you're looking for opportunities to catch them doing the right thing. Looking for opportunities to encourage those that you lead and that are in your world. All right. The next area is health and energy. Fatigue makes cowards of us all, it is said. And when you're tired, you don't have the energy, you don't have the drive, you don't push forward on things, you don't push through. A couple of years ago, I was letting my health go. I was getting a little bit overweight. I found that I was getting tired in the evening as I gained weight. And so I was like, okay, I need to get in shape. I actually did like a 2-day fast and broke my carb addiction and then got back in shape. And as I had about 2 more hours of energy a day as soon as I started getting back in shape. And health and energy, as we increase those, we know that we can do more. We know that we're able to achieve more. It does increase our personal agency. So make sure that you're tracking the things that decrease your health and decrease your energy, and you're tracking the things that increase those. And we have the tracker in the handout that goes with this course, and track those things. Make the changes in your life to increase your health and increase your energy, and in turn, that will increase your personal agency. All right, 5th thing to increase your personal agency. Think, then attack, or think, then act. I like the word attack even better than act. Like, you jump on opportunities. You seize those things. You seize the moment. You carpe diem. You seize the day. You make those things happen. A lot of entrepreneurs get stuck. They overthink. They think and they think and they think. You need action to actually tell you and inform your thinking to make sure that it's actually good. You don't know if something's good till you actually try to do it. If you just try to think forever and ever and ever and think so hard that you'll never make a wrong decision, your opportunity is going to change by the time you actually act on it. So think a little bit, plan a little bit, but spend the bulk of your time taking action, doing things that matter, moving things forward. A lot of times entrepreneurs get stuck in a cycle of thinking because paralysis analysis, they're afraid they're going to fail. Action is actually the antidote to fear. If you want to defeat fear, take action. And what will happen is you'll increase your personal agency because you'll see, oh, this does work. Or now I know this doesn't work. I'm going to try this other thing. And you continue to move things forward step by step. There's a phrase or a quote from Lemony Snicket that says, "Are you ready?" Colossus finally asked. Sonny answered, "No. Me neither," Violet said. "But if we wait until we're ready, we'll be waiting for the rest of our lives." And the same is true with you and your business. Don't wait. Jump into it. Act today. Take action. Make this happen. I actually have been delaying on even creating this course until one of my friends, Sam Priestley, we interviewed me on a podcast, and he's like, "Hey, the podcast is going live today," and I'm like, "Crap! I got to finish this course. I should have attacked it before, but I created the PowerPoint, I created the course, created the handout, but I didn't actually record it until right now." And so, don't be me. Think and then attack. Take action, and as you take action, it will, in itself, increase your personal agency. Vern Harnish says this: success belongs to those who have two attributes, an insatiable desire to learn and an unquenchable bias for action. So make sure you're learning, make sure you're taking time to think on what's going to work, but then have an unquenchable bias for action. The sixth thing that increases our personal agency is to achieve goals. And you might be going, well, great, buddy. If I achieve goals, I wouldn't need personal agency. You've actually done a lot in your life. It might help you to write down a list of things that you already have achieved. But really my focus right here is think about breaking your goals down in a way that you can achieve them. You should be achieving goals just about every day. Now, maybe you call those a task, or maybe you call that a project, but you should, at the end of your day, go, yeah, I did that. I pounded it. I made it through. I achieved those things. And please kick my butt. We encourage our entrepreneurs to set up 3 goals or 3 most important tasks for each day that they're going to achieve that day to move their dream forward. And when you keep making progress day after day after day on your smaller goals, all of a sudden you start finding that you're achieving your bigger goals. And when you have success on the little things, it actually increases your belief and your personal agency that you can do the bigger things, that you can make those things happen. All right. 7th thing to increase your personal agency. If you hate it, stop it. If you love it, increase it or grow it. You might be going, well, yeah, that sounds great, buddy. The reality is, in my about 13, 14 years of teaching this idea, almost everyone has some things in their life that they can get rid of that they hate, but they don't have the belief that they can. And they don't think they can increase the things that they love in their life. I'm telling you right now, you can delete, edit, change some of those things that you hate in your life right now far easier than you think. So if you should go ahead and on the list start writing down any of the things that you hate in your life right now that are draining you, and figure out a way to edit those out of your life. Marcus Buckingham says this: the number one secret to sustained individual success is to find the things you don't like doing and stop doing them. So saying if you want to be successful, now he's the strengths guy. Wouldn't he talk about, working in your strengths, doing all those things? Yeah, he talks about that as well. But he says the number one secret is to actually quit doing the things that are killing you. If you have something in your life right now that's draining you and it's killing you, quit doing it. Now there's some things, if you're a parent of a 3-year-old and you hate, maybe a 18-month-old, I guess I was going to say changing diapers. Hopefully you're not changing diapers for a 3-year-old. Probably, you probably can't just quit changing diapers. That could be a pretty stinky, smelly experience. But you can find ways to change it. You can change your belief, your growth mindset about it. Or you can hire a nanny. You can do different things. We had a nanny for 6 months when our kids were little. It was one of the 6 best months of my life. She didn't change all the diapers and she didn't do all the playing with the kids, but the kids got to play twice as much because I would still come home and play with them, but they'd already played with the nanny for an hour and a half. And find the things that are draining you, quit doing those. Find the things that you love doing and figure out how to increase them in your life. Be intentional about what means the most and matters the most in your world. Just last week, my daughter was back from college, and my wife teaches at school. My 2 older kids are in high school. They went back to school. And my daughter and I are like, hey, let's go to the beach. We both love the beach. We love adventure. We hopped on a plane and we went to the beach for 2 days and had some good meals and had great conversations and got a suntan and read books, in the off the ocean breeze. And it was a great time. We both love adventure, so we look for opportunities to make those things happen. It was a really good time. So These 7 things, if you do them, I guarantee they will increase your personal agency. Now, they're not the only things. This is not an exhaustive list by any means. But if you take action on just 1 or 2 or 3 of these things right now, you're going to increase your personal agency, your belief in your ability to accomplish things by a tremendous amount. Now, if you're an entrepreneur and you are struggling with execution, check out pleasekickmybutt.com. We help entrepreneurs with daily execution. We have daily accountability to make sure that you're executing, weekly group coaching. It's just an amazing opportunity for entrepreneurs to move themselves and their business forward. So if this has been helpful for you at all and you want accountability to actually getting things done in your life, increasing your personal agency, go to pleasekickmybutt.com and check that out. Thanks so much. I hope this was helpful for you in increasing your own belief in your own personal agency.